I was sitting in Robinhood over the weekend, and I'm watching this, and in it, at one point, the people have been turned against each other, the people of England, and they've been turned against the king, and the king is a bad guy. But England is not a bad place, and it just needs to have some updating. It just needs to, the king needs to understand it's the rights of the individual that is important, not his crown. We would, support the crown if you support us as individuals. That's Robin Hood's case. And he unites the people, and he thwarts an attack from the French. And the French king, it turns the ships around because he sees that his army is being wiped out by all of the English. He was told that the country would be in disarray because they'd all be warring against each other. He turns the ship around, and he says at that moment, this doesn't look like a country that is warring against itself. Turn the ships around. That moment, to me, was an epiphany. We must unite. But now, we've tried. We've tried. This is the argument that I had in my head all night. We have tried to just be decent people. And you can't, because at least me, I get too upset. I'm talking about this tonight. You do not want to miss tonight's episode. But you get too pissed because your country is being stolen from you. There's no way to save it just purely with politics. And the road signs, the exits are whizzing by us at 100 miles an hour, and they are taking us to hell. And you just try to wake people up. What happens on top of that is that they are constantly dividing us again, constantly pushing back and forth. Here's the solution. The solution is, John, when you learn the truth on Friday, it changes your entire perspective, does it not?
It does, and the thing that I've come up with is I feel like I've been following this stuff pretty heavily for at least my whole life, but I've been so bogged down in the facts that I think that one thing that's been taken away from us, the thing that bonded us as a country, and it's exactly the reason why I told my wife we are going to 828 no matter what, is that if we aren't united on things that are aside from the facts, something more fundamental, then I think that's what the Constitution and the principles in there represented to this country for so long, and we're just so far away from. But we're not bound by the basic things, so we're in disarray on all the other crap. So it's just distorting everything. Exactly that's why I think what you're doing with the hope, faith, and charity, I didn't get it till Friday, the hope, faith, and charity. And just the thinking, and then with Memorial Day, and just this, all being in context, we've got to reconnect to the larger thing.
John, and, help me, please, I beg of you. Help me. Please spread the word. Now that you get it, help wake other people up. Time is running out on this, and you're exactly right. We have the fundamentals wrong. Right. And if we don't restore the fundamentals, there's no chance. There's no chance of survival. Right now, the reason why we're arguing about healthcare and everything else is because we don't have the fundamentals anymore.
That is it. That's the whole thing. And that's what I realized over the weekend is we don't. It's like if you don't raise your kids with certain basic values, their life is just going to get to certain. It's just going to turn into. They're going to have a lot of challenges they wouldn't have otherwise because they don't have that moral compass to test it against. That's what we don't have anymore. I mean, we're not the United. It's just the things that made the United States great we've abandoned, and I think it's because of the lie I've been told, what we're seeing in media, and I just think that what you're doing, that role, that role of getting us back to just rediscovering who we are, and then the rest will fall into place. We have no self-identity anymore.
John, I am going to count your phone call and your awakening this weekend as my personal miracle of the month. I look for miracles to happen, and you are a miracle. Thank you.
I appreciate it. We've been challenging people to watch your show for 1 week. My wife and I from Saturday. We've been doing it Saturday, Sunday. We've been asking people, just give it a week. Just do a week. And then talk with us at the end of the week.
Thank you.
That's a little bit what we're doing. But
John,
thanks,
thank you. You tell your friends this one thing, and I'm going to announce this on television tonight. I am going to talk less about the administration, and I am going to, this summer, I'm going to make it my mission to continue to reconnect the American people with the founders and who they really were. But I'm also going to correct the fundamental history that is being erased in the early 20th century. And I'm also going to show the truth of the civil rights movement and what happened, who was involved, and we're going to recorrect. If I can reconnect the American people with the founders, just the basic truth on that, with what happened in the 20th century, with just the idea of what Wilson was trying to create, and with who was using who. How was that? How did the 1950s and 60s really come about? Who was involved? What was their real original stance? If I can reconnect those three things, we have a chance of having real conversations in America. So challenge your friends to watch this summer.
Absolutely, and thanks so much. And if you can find that Ariana Huffington video, you can see why the president designated her. But anyways, all right, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye. We'll be back in just a second. I want to leave you with this phone call from Jerry in Tennessee. Jerry, what's your thought?
Well, Glenn, my thought is that this is what's happening over in Israel off the coast there. This, to me, seems like community organizing. And, I mean, like, they're trying to intimidate Israel, and instead of, like, intimidating children on the front porch of a banker's front porch, they're trying to do the same thing to Israel. And the leader of Hamas said last week it's a win-win for them. If they get through the blockade, then we win. And if we don't get through, then the media will be sympathizing towards the people of Gaza, and the news media is falling right into the terrorist.
The media is part of it. The media is part of it. There's no excuse at this point. None. I've met these people. I know these people. They're not stupid. Now you can make the argument. I had somebody this morning make the argument that they're just lazy. I'm sorry. May God forget you are my countrymen. May God forget that. It's reprehensible what's happening. If it's out of laziness, may God forget that. Holy cow, are you going to be, when you get to the judgment table, good thing a lot of the reporters don't believe in Judgment Day. When you get to the Judgment Day, you are in deep, deep trouble. I mean, just listen to this. We've heard that these guys it's just a peace mission. That's just a peace mission. Okay. The IHH, which is this Turkish humanitarian organizing committee. In 2006, the Danish Institute for International Studies conducted a study on Islamic charity funds and its support for terrorism, which, remember, we're no longer fighting because terrorism is a tactic. Over 20% of this study from the Danish deals with IHH. 20%. It found that IHH has connections with Al-Qaeda and the global jihad operatives. But again, our Department of Justice would like you to know that jihad is a good thing. In December of 1997, Turkish authorities raided IHH offices in Istanbul. They found weapons, explosives, instructions for making homemade bombs, a flag with a jihad message, and documents indicating that IHH members were planning to take part in jihad activities in Afghanistan, Bosnia, and Chechnya. Those are the Turks that discovered that. But remember, this was a peace cruise. I challenge the media. I challenge them to play that videotape that it seems to me only Fox is playing. And you play the part where it shows the peace lovers, the Nobel Prize winners, with a pipe in their hand, beating somebody down on the deck. You show that. You zoom in on those people and you show the vicious beating over and over with the pipes. And then you tell me exactly how this was a peace mission.
This is the Glenn Beck Program.